Welcome grade 6 to today's biology lesson. I'm Tasfiya Kifayat. Our today's topic is touch, taste and smell, and this is from your book, the chapter 6.02, and this is our first lecture. So let's get started. You see, we have 5 senses. The humans, we have 5 senses, and they are sight, smell, hearing, taste and touch. And there are a couple of organs which are involved in these senses. So the sense organs are eyes, nose, ears, tongue and skin. Now here we can see a table which contains different sense organs and which are sensitive to certain stimuli and which can also give us certain senses. Number 1 is the skin, which is sensitive to pressure, heat and cold, and it gives us a sense of touch. Now tongue, it is basically sensitive to chemicals in our food and drink and also give us a sense of taste. Now nose, this is basically sensitive to chemicals in the air and also give us a sense of smell. Now ears, these are basically sensitive to sound and movement and can also give us the sense of hearing and balance. Lastly, the eyes, they are basically sensitive to light and they can also give us a sense of sight. Now moving on, let's have a look at the mechanism of any sensation. So there are basically 3 steps involved. Step number 1 is basically that our sense organs, they detect a stimulus or a change such as sound or light. For example, if we are exposed to a dark light or a very bright light, what happens? Our eyes will detect the change, will detect the light. For instance, if we are exposed to a loud sound, then our ears are going to detect the change, that is the stimulus over there. So this is the first step, detecting the stimulus by the sense organs. Step 2 is basically the message is being sent along the nerves to the brain. Basically our brain is the control center, so it receives signals from all over the sense organs from body. And now brain gives us a feedback, that is the sensations or feelings such as hearing or sight. So this is the 3 steps of mechanism for sensation. Moving on, here we can see a structure of the skin. So this structure basically shows the nerve endings in our skin. So nerve endings are basically the end of the nerve cells which help us sense the touch or any change. For example, here we can see the outermost layer here, this is the epidermis, and the inner portion is the dermis of the skin, and there are many nerve endings present over here. So the nerve endings here, these are sensitive to heat. The nerve endings over here, these are sensitive to light touch, and these nerve endings present in the epidermis, they are sensitive to pain. These nerve endings over here, they are sensitive to cold, and these nerve endings over here, they are sensitive to strong pressure, and the nerve endings which are wrapped around the hair follicle, so they basically detect the changes, the movement in hair, if the hair is pulled or moved off. Moving on, here we can see a chart, a table which shows the position of the nerve endings in our skin and the sensation or to what they're sensitive and also the effect of sensation. Now the nerve endings which are present deep inside the skin, they get sensitive to heavy pressure and they can warn us about pressure which can bruise us. Now the nerve endings which are present near the skin surface, they are sensitive to light pressure and they tell us about the texture of an object. Now the nerve endings very close to the skin surface, that is in the epidermis, so they what can do? They basically sense pain and make us feel the pain when our skin is cut or burned. Now the nerve endings deep inside the skin, they are sensitive to heat and cold and they detect the changes in temperature, for example any weather change, cold or hot object. Now lastly, the nerve endings which are present, which are wrapped around the base of a hair, so they detect if the hair is pulled or moved. Now that's all for today. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.